Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to week 29 here at Northside Square. I'm Quincy Jones, Director of Programs with The Works, joined by my trusted colleague, Mike Larrivee, Director of Sustainable Initiatives here at The Works. And we're back here on site at Northside Square. So last time we joined you, or you joined us, we talked a little bit about development as it's occurring here on site. I'm happy to report that we are again complete with demolition. We had a few things that we had to get done with some contractors. Everything's going smooth. Bringing you up to date again, week 29. We're talking about sustainable initiatives, some of the things that are going to be happening here on site, and some of the things that will be taking place, but giving you more detail. So we removed several trees several weeks ago as a part of the redevelopment of this site and bringing forth this grand promenade, if you will, that'll be featured as a part of the redevelopment of Northside Square. So Mike Larrivee, again, Director of Sustainable Initiatives here at The Works, is going to tell us a little bit about tree removal and what that looks like on a site like Northside Square, how we can reuse assets, how we can reuse things like trees and other resources, natural resources here on site, and things like that are going to be taking place as a part of the works. But also, what does that mean, Mike, to a development like Northside, where we're seeing the transformation of an old high school? We're trying to reuse things as a part. We talked about several weeks ago, we talked about the redevelopment of the Hall of Fame, reusing a number of artifacts, trophies, memorabilia from the high school, but also natural resources,
Sure.
green initiatives such as trees. What does that mean as you talk about the redevelopment, as we work on the redevelopment of Northside High School?
Well, it's definitely in keeping with the adaptive reuse philosophy of this project,
Right.
for sure. Really and truly, it's the management protocol of asset versus liability. Like
Yes.
we can manage these trees as a liability, send them to the landfill, which is
Right.
the standard operating procedure now, and
Right.
create a natural disaster as those things break down in anaerobic conditions for our kids and our grandkids to deal with.
Right.
Or we can take some of this timber and keep it as high in the sustainable wood economy as we possibly can, and that's what will happen here.
Great.
So we took 9 mature oaks down on this campus, and a lot of that timber will be processed for lumber. That lumber will go into furniture and some other initiatives
Right.
to go right back into this building and sequester carbon for hundreds of years
Right.
instead of sending that back up into the atmosphere.
Right.
So it's sort of continuing the natural carbon management process that these trees did while they were alive and working for us. They can
Right.
continue to work for us long past that if we
Right.
manage things effectively.
Wonderful.
Yeah, for sure. And the stuff that can't be turned into timber will be broken down into compost and biochar and all kinds of other sort of interesting and innovative adaptive use.
Right.
And that can go back into the landscape here.
Right. Wonderful.
For sure.
Wonderful. And so when we first talked about Northside Square several weeks ago in one of our updates, we kind of talked about the purpose of reusing what's in this community or what's happening in this community and then bringing Northside back online. And so we talked about the affordable housing component that will be here. We talked about the redevelopment of the Northside Hall of Fame that talks about all of the memorabilia, the artifacts, what was the great Northside High School, home of the Cougars. And so we've got all of this memorabilia, all of this nostalgia, but now we're getting back into the natural aspects. And so, Mike, we're doing a lot at the Works. We're doing composting. You've got a number of us on staff that have got these huge compost buckets. And now we're talking about the redevelopment of these trees. What do you think this ultimately means that we can grow into, and how this works and how this kind of plays off of the physical redevelopment of a former high school? What could this initiative really could bring us towards as an organization? What could this really do for us in form of just transforming what community development corporations traditionally do, but bringing us into something new?
Sure. Well, I mean, I'm still kind of the new kid in
Sure.
the organization, and I'm grateful to be working with folks like you and Rashawn and Steve that are really sort of setting the standard in this part of the world for redevelopment. I think sustainable initiatives, for one thing, we're going to work to normalize the term regenerative.
Yes.
And
Regenerative.
I will change my job title when we normalize that in the culture, which we
Right.
will.
Right.
But this is it's just a major element in our redevelopment strategy in terms of being holistic,
Right.
because the land and our waste management processes, our land use processes, our uh, green infrastructure, all of that
Right.
is part of redeveloping in a
Yes.
sustainable or
Yeah.
a regenerative way.
Yeah. And it's reflective of the environment.
Absolutely.
Needs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, human health and environmental health are
Yes.
the same thing.
Yes.
And we're working, with food access and all sorts of other things. We've got sustainable initiatives
Yes.
to make that economy a little bit more circular, or a lot
Right.
more circular, like the wood economy as well. But really and truly, any system, including economic systems that aren't aligned with natural processes, is doomed to failure eventually. These are
Right.
finite resources, and we can do a whole
Absolutely.
lot better than this.
Great.
And we're gonna.
We're gonna. And also, I should mention on the previous update, week 26, we actually had the mobile grocer here on site. So many of you know, if you haven't watched that on our YouTube channel, please go back. You know, there are a couple of days here during the week. They're escaping me right now, but you can actually come here and you can actually buy fresh produce when you see our mobile grocer here on site. And so, Mike, I want to thank you so much for coming out. Week 29, just briefly talking to us about some of the initiative that you're going to see here on site. More work is coming. I'm happy to announce that we'll be moving very soon towards core and shell construction or vertical construction here on site. Really exciting times. We'll have a community gathering. We'll be giving more information out about as that occurs. And please continue to submit us your comments, your questions. If you want to know anything about the works, anything about the work that the works is doing here in the Klondike community, and more particularly here at Klondike Square. Thank you, Mike, for joining us. Thank you for being here, my friend.
My pleasure.
And thank you all for tuning in. Tune in next week, week 30. We'll be back with more updates on the work and the progress here at Northside Square. Thank you.